For most rulers, power ends with death. But for one emperor, death was not an ending, it was an enemy. More than 2,000 years ago, a man who ruled all under heaven became obsessed with a single idea: living forever. He commanded armies, unified nations, and reshaped history itself. Yet nothing terrified him more than the thought of dying. This is the story of an emperor who spent his life chasing immortality, and the dark irony that followed him to the grave. Tonight, we uncover the unsettling truth behind the Emperor Who Chased Immortality. His name was Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor to unify China in 221 BCE. Before him, China was divided into warring states. After him, it became an empire. Qin Shi Huang standardized language, currency, laws, and measurements. He ordered the construction of massive roads, canals, and defensive walls, the earliest foundations of the Great Wall. To his people, he was unstoppable. To his enemies, merciless. But behind the image of absolute power lived a man haunted by fear. The fear of mortality. As Qin Shi Huang grew older, his fear of dying intensified. He believed death was not natural, but a flaw that could be conquered. Ancient Chinese beliefs spoke of immortals, beings who lived forever on sacred mountains beyond the sea. The emperor became convinced that eternal life was attainable, if only the right secret could be found. From that moment on, his empire turned into a massive experiment in defying death itself. Qin Shi Huang summoned alchemists, healers, and mystics from across the empire. Their task was simple and impossible: create an elixir of immortality. Many of these elixirs contained mercury, believed at the time to preserve the body and grant eternal life. The emperor drank them regularly. Instead of curing death, they slowly poisoned him. Historical records suggest that mercury caused mood swings, paranoia, and hallucinations. The more he consumed, the more unstable he became. Ironically, the very substance meant to make him immortal was quietly killing him. When elixirs failed, Qin Shi Huang turned his gaze outward. He sent massive expeditions eastward into the sea, searching for legendary islands said to be home to immortals. One famous expedition was led by a court magician named Xu Fu, who sailed with hundreds of young men and women. Xu Fu never returned. Some legends claim he reached Japan and chose not to come back, knowing failure meant execution. To the emperor, this was not betrayal. It was proof that immortality must exist somewhere beyond reach. If immortality could not be achieved in life, Qin Shi Huang would dominate death itself. He ordered the construction of the largest tomb complex the world had ever seen. Thousands of laborers worked in secret for decades. Entire underground palaces were built, complete with rivers of mercury, mechanical traps, and ceilings painted with stars. To guard him forever, an army was created, not of soldiers, but of clay. The Terracotta Army, over 8,000 life-sized warriors, each with unique faces, stood ready to protect their emperor in the afterlife. It was not a tomb. It was a second empire beneath the earth. In 210 BCE, during a tour of his empire, Qin Shi Huang fell gravely ill. Terrified of panic and rebellion, his officials hid his death. His body was placed in a carriage filled with rotting fish to mask the smell of decay as the procession returned to the capital. The emperor, who sought immortality, died far from his palace, poisoned by the very elixirs meant to save him. His death was quiet, his fear unresolved. Qin Shi Huang never achieved immortality, but history granted him something close. His name survived for millennia. His empire shaped China forever. His tomb remains unopened, sealed due to fears of mercury and ancient traps. In trying to escape death, he ensured he would never be forgotten. Yet perhaps the greatest irony of all is this. The emperor who feared death more than anyone else built one of the most powerful symbols of life after death the world has ever known. The story of Qin Shi Huang is not just about an emperor. It is about humanity itself, the fear of dying, the desire to be remembered, the hope that death can somehow be defeated. In chasing immortality, the emperor revealed a truth that still follows us today. No matter how powerful you are, no matter how much you control, death remains the one force that cannot be conquered. And sometimes the harder we run from it, the closer it waits.